Once upon a time, in the highest, bluest, and fluffiest corner of the sky, there was a very special school that looked as if it were made of candy floss. It was called the Sunshine Academy. At this school, children didn't learn maths or history, they learned far more magical things: how to bounce on clouds, how to sing with the wind, and most importantly, how to color the sky. One of the sweetest pupils at this school was a tiny unicorn named Barnaby. Barnaby's coat was as white as freshly fallen snow, and his eyes were as blue as the sky. He was a very cheerful, friendly, and kind-hearted unicorn. However, Barnaby had a tiny sadness in his heart. While all the other little unicorns at the Sunshine Academy had magical horns that shone brightly and scattered colorful lights all around, Barnaby's horn hadn't shone at all yet. It was just a dull, grey color. His best friends, Ruby, Arthur, and Daisy, already had horns that were beginning to show their magic. Whenever pink-maned Ruby felt happy, pink soap bubbles would float out of her horn. Arthur, who had a blue coat and loved to run fast, would shoot tiny, elegant blue lightning bolts from his horn as he dashed about. And Daisy, with her lovely yellow curls, radiated warm, golden sunbeams from hers. Barnaby would look at his friends and sigh, thinking, "I wonder when my horn will shine. What color will my magic be?" Sometimes, he would sneak off to a quiet corner, squeeze his eyes shut, take a deep breath, and focus on his horn. But all that ever came out was a tiny puff of grey smoke, going poof. One morning, the wisest and most loving teacher at the Sunshine Academy, Mrs. Honeywings, stepped into the classroom. Mrs. Honeywings was a magnificent unicorn, a horse with both wings and a horn, with huge white wings and a golden horn. "Good morning, my little stars," said Mrs. Honeywings, her voice chiming sweetly like wind chimes. "Today is a very exciting day. Because today, we are going to learn how to make the greatest magic in the sky. Today, we are going to learn how to make a rainbow." All the little unicorns in the classroom jumped for joy, tapping their little hooves on the floor. Only Barnaby slowly lowered his head. He knew his horn needed to shine to add color to the sky. Mrs. Honeywings took everyone outside to the school's enormous fluffy cloud garden. "Making a rainbow is teamwork," she explained. "Each of you will represent a different color. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. You must all send your magic into the sky at the exact same time." It was time to hand out the tasks. Ruby took red, Daisy took yellow, and Arthur took blue. The other friends shared the remaining colors. Barnaby stood on the edge, watching them with sad eyes. Mrs. Honeywings trotted over to Barnaby and gently rubbed her soft nose against his cheek. "Why aren't you joining in, Barnaby?" she whispered. "But Mrs. Honeywings," said Barnaby with a wobbly voice, "my horn doesn't shine. I don't have a color. I can only make grey smoke. I can't make a rainbow, I'll only ruin my friend's magic." Mrs. Honeywings smiled a warm, cozy smile. Every magic, every talent has its own perfect time to blossom, little Barnaby. And sometimes, the most special magic of all belongs to those without a color. You must stand there together with your friends. Do whatever you feel inside when the time is right. Barnaby gathered his courage and took his place next to his friends. Riardi. Go, called out Mrs. Honeywings. All the little unicorns closed their eyes and focused on their horns. Suddenly, magnificent colors shot up into the sky. A deep red from Ruby, a bright yellow from Daisy, and a rich blue from Arthur. The other colors joined them too. Lines of 7 different colors appeared in the sky. But there was a problem. The colors stood in straight, stiff lines. They wouldn't bend like a rainbow. What's more, where they mixed together, they started to form muddy, brown and gray patches. The colors simply couldn't get along, looking like a messy paint box in the sky. Oh no, cried Ruby. Our rainbow is turning into mud. The colors aren't bending, said Arthur, looking worried. Just as all the little unicorns were about to stop their magic, not knowing what to do, Barnaby felt something. A warm, tickly feeling started right in his tummy. This warmth climbed up to his chest, filled his heart with love, and then slowly traveled up to his head, right to the tip of his horn. He really didn't want his friends to be sad. He couldn't bear to see their beautiful colors go to waste. Barnaby squeezed his eyes shut and whispered, please let me help them. Right at that moment, something unbelievable happened. Barnaby's horn, which had always been a dull gray, slowly began to light up. First, a soft glow, and then a dazzling, brilliant light. But this light wasn't red, blue, or yellow. It was a silvery, pure white glow, sparkling just like a diamond in the sun. Barnaby opened his eyes. A magical waterfall of silver pixie dust flowed from his horn straight up into the sky, right towards those jumbled up colors. The sparkling silver dust drifted between the colors. It cleaned away the brown, muddy patches, gently embraced each color, and lovingly bound them together. Then, Barnaby's silver glow slowly bent the colors, curving them into a giant, perfect arch stretching from the sky down to the earth. Barnaby's magic kept shining over all the colors like tiny specks of glitter. The rainbow was no longer just colorful, it was breathtakingly sparkling. The whole class stared up at the sky in absolute awe, whispering, "Wow!" Mrs. Honeywings walked over to Barnaby, bursting with pride. "Do you see, Barnaby?" she said joyfully. "Your magic didn't have a color, because your magic is something much rarer than all of them. Your magic is harmony and connection. Colors on their own are just straight lines. But without your silver glow, without your magical love, they could never have joined together to become a rainbow. You are the heart that holds the colors together and makes the rainbow sparkle." Barnaby's cheeks flushed pink with joy. His friends ran over and gave him a massive hug. "Without your sparkle, My red was so boring, said Ruby. You're brilliant, Barnaby, added Arthur. From that day on, Barnaby understood why his horn hadn't shone straight away. To reveal the most special talents, sometimes you have to wait just a little bit longer, to find the exact moment when your friends need you the most. Barnaby was no longer sad that he wasn't exactly like everyone else. He had learned that everyone has a different and unique talent, and that everyone is needed to make the world a beautiful place. And from that day forward, whenever a rainbow appeared in the world, children would look up at the sky, see the silver sparkles glittering over the colors, and say, "Look, Barnaby and his friends are painting the sky again." And 3 magical apples fell from the sky. One for those waiting patiently to find their own unique talent. One for those who know how beautiful our differences are. And the last one for the lovely little girl listening to this tale, ready to practice her English as she drifts off into sweet dreams. Good night, sleep tight.